All right, ready to deep dive into some awesome material.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Today we're diving into Khloe Kardashian's chat with Jay Shetty.
From his YouTube podcast, right?
I got it.
I've heard good things about that one.
It is good. Khloe's so open and honest.
Like, what does she talk about?
Everything, really. Public scrutiny, relationships, motherhood, she holds nothing back.
Okay, wow.
And she drops some seriously insightful stuff, especially about forgiveness and self-care.
Inner strength, too, right? I feel like she's had to build up a lot of that.
You can say that again.
So where do we even begin with all of that?
Well, one thing that really jumped out at me was this whole idea of being like 5% more kind.
5% more kind.
Yeah, it's Khloe's thing.
I've never thought about it like that.
It's simple but powerful, you know?
Okay, break it down for me.
So instead of thinking you have to do these huge, over-the-top kind things, it's more about being a little more mindful, a little more present in your everyday interactions.
Uh-huh, I see.
Like just a genuine thank you or a smile for someone you might normally not even notice.
Oh, I like that.
Or taking a second to really acknowledge the people around you.
It's so easy to just go through the motions, you know? Like you said, on autopilot,
Exactly.
not really appreciating the people we interact with every day.
So this 5% more kind is like a reminder to be present.
And maybe brighten someone's day without even realizing it.
Totally. And that's the thing, even small acts of kindness can have this ripple effect.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like someone might be a little nicer to the next person and so on and so on.
Exactly. We underestimate how much those little things matter.
We really do.
Now, another thing Khloe gets into is self-care. Like, it's non-negotiable for her.
I can get behind that.
She's big on journaling, prayer,
Classic.
and exercise.
Oh, for sure. Exercise is essential.
And it's interesting because for her, it's not just about being physically fit.
Yeah.
It's a way for her to, like, process her emotions.
To get all that energy out.
Yeah, like pent-up energy, frustrations. It clears her head.
I feel that I'm the same way with running.
It's like active meditation almost.
Right. You get in the zone.
And for me, running is my go-to when I'm trying to untangle a problem or de-stress.
It's such a good outlet.
Khloe was talking about journaling almost like it's therapy,
Oh, yeah. To just get it all out on paper.
like a safe space to vent or reflect, sometimes even to laugh at yourself.
Love that. Creating that space for yourself however it works for you.
Exactly. Could be journaling, meditating, spending time in nature, anything that helps you connect with yourself on a deeper level.
That deeper connection is so important.
It really is. Now, are you ready for things to get a little more personal?
Bring it on.
Because Khloe opens up about forgiveness. And this is where it gets real. She talks about her breakup with Tristan Thompson, you know, the whole thing being so public.
Yeah, that was everywhere.
And she made the decision to forgive him.
Wow. I can't imagine what that must have been like.
She's incredibly brave for sharing such a raw, personal experience.
She really is. So what was her take on forgiveness?
Well, she made it clear that forgiving him didn't mean she condoned his actions, but it was about choosing to let go of the anger and resentment that was holding her back.
Makes sense.
It's so powerful, she says. Letting go is hard, but holding on is harder.
Man, that's deep.
It really makes you think about the cost of holding on to negativity, you know?
You're just hurting yourself at the end of the day.
Exactly. And Khloe's very clear that forgiveness doesn't mean you have to stay in the relationship.
Oh, for sure not.
It's about freeing yourself, choosing to move forward.
And that takes us right into her rejection of the victim role.
Yes. Instead of dwelling in the pain and blaming others,
She took a different approach.
totally different. She chose to process her emotions and take responsibility for her own healing.
It's like choosing to empower yourself instead of letting the situation define you.
That's exactly it. A really important shift in perspective.
Instead of why me, it's what can I learn from this?
How can I grow from this experience?
That's a powerful message for anyone going through something tough. It's so easy to feel stuck, like a victim.
But Khloe shows us we have a choice.
We can either let circumstances define us or rise above them.
And that, I think, is the key takeaway here.
It's about taking back your power.
Exactly. And speaking of power,
Oh, this is going somewhere good.
Khloe talks about this fascinating concept of transforming intentions.
Transforming intentions. I'm intrigued.
It's especially interesting in the context of her show, Revenge Body.
Oh, okay. So what does that mean? Like changing your goals as you go?
Kind of. So initially, people came on the show wanting to transform their physical appearance.
To get back at someone who hurt them.
Exactly. It was all about external validation, proving something to someone else.
The classic glow up for revenge.
Yeah. But as they worked on their fitness and nutrition and dug deep emotionally,
Things started to change.
they started to realize their own strength and resilience.
So it became less about revenge and more about self-discovery.
Exactly. They were proving something to themselves, not to someone else.
And that's where the real transformation happened.
Right. They realized that lasting happiness doesn't come from seeking validation from others.
It comes from within,
And that's where Khloe's emphasis on finding validation within comes in,
not from others.
not from others. She talks about how seeking that external validation can be addictive.
Oh, I bet. Especially these days with social media.
Right. And it's ultimately unsatisfying.
You're always chasing the next comment, the next opinion.
It's like a moving target. You never really reach it,
True confidence comes from knowing your worth.
regardless of what anyone else says.
It's a powerful message in today's world, that's for sure.
It is, and it makes you really think about where you find your own validation.
Are you looking for it in the right places?
Exactly. That's the question we all need to ask ourselves.
I like that.
Now, before we wrap up this first
Oh,
part,
there's more.
oh yeah, lots more.
All right, hit me with it.
We can't talk about Khloe without talking about family.
Makes sense. She's all about family.
Right. And she's fiercely loyal to hers.
The Kardashians, a force to be reckoned with.
Seriously. And she talks about how important it is to work through disagreements, to always have each other's backs.
They've definitely had their share of drama over the years.
They have. It's all been so public.
But they always seem to come back together.
They do. There's this real sense of unity there.
It's interesting they don't shy away from conflict.
No. They acknowledge that disagreements are inevitable.
But the key is communication and working through those issues together.
It's a good reminder that even in the closest families, there will be bumps.
It's all about how you navigate them.
And, we haven't even touched on Khloe's experience as a mother yet.
Oh, right. How could I forget?
It's a whole other layer to her story.
I bet motherhood has changed her perspective on a lot of things.
It has. You can just hear how much she adores her daughter.
True. And how it's changed her.
Oh, absolutely. But we'll dive into all of that in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait. Okay, so where were we? Ah, yes, Khloe as a mom.
Right. And you could just tell how much she loves True.
And she talks about motherhood changing her perspective, right?
For sure.
Hmm.
She mentions True having this, innate empathy.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It is, and Khloe says she's learning a whole new kind of patience from being a mom.
I can only imagine.
She even said True inspired her to be healthier and take better care of herself.
That makes sense. Wanting to be a good role model.
Exactly.
Yep.
Motherhood gave her this renewed sense of purpose.
It's about leading by example, right? Showing your kids what it means to prioritize your well-being.
Absolutely. Khloe also talked about the challenges of parenting now, how different it is from when she was growing up.
Things have definitely changed.
She called it the Google era of parenting,
Oh, I like that.
where we have all this information at our fingertips, like opinions on everything.
And it's so easy to get overwhelmed by it all,
It's true. There's this pressure to be the perfect parent.
which is just not realistic.
Right. And she contrasted that with her own mom, Chris, who didn't have that constant stream of expert advice.
Back then, it was more about intuition and figuring it out as you went along.
Totally. But it's interesting to think about how every generation of parents faces its own unique set of challenges.
It's a constant learning curve, no matter what.
That's for sure. Now, another thing Khloe talked about was dealing with negativity, especially being in the public eye.
Oh, I bet that's tough.
She talked about having to learn to protect your energy.
Like not letting the opinions of others get to her.
Exactly. Not letting those opinions define her.
That's such a valuable lesson, even for those of us who aren't famous.
It's so easy to get caught up in what other people think.
But their opinions honestly don't matter as much as our own.
So true. You have to learn to tune out the noise and focus on what truly matters to you.
And Khloe talked about her faith, right?
Yes,
There.
as a source of strength and grounding, especially when things feel chaotic.
It's about finding those things that center you, whether it's faith, meditation, spending time in nature,
Anything that brings you peace and helps you reconnect with yourself.
like creating that inner sanctuary.
Exactly. And then, of course, she has her non-negotiables that we talked about earlier.
Journaling, exercise, prayer.
Those are her tools for staying grounded and taking care of her mental and emotional well-being.
They're like her foundation.
It's a good reminder that self-care isn't selfish. It's essential.
We have to take care of ourselves so we can be there for the people we love.
And it doesn't have to be anything complicated or fancy.
Just small things that bring you joy, making them a priority.
Absolutely. It all comes back to knowing what you need, that self-awareness.
And making choices that support your well-being.
It's a journey, not a destination, though, right?
Definitely. There will be times when we fall off track.
We're only human.
But it's about having that self-compassion to pick yourself back up and keep going.
That's so important. And, something else Chloe mentioned that stuck with me was this idea that we have a responsibility to be kind.
To others, you mean?
Well, to others, yes, but also to ourselves.
Oh, I like.
She said we often hold ourselves to these unrealistic standards and then beat ourselves up when we don't meet them.
It's true. We can be so hard on ourselves.
Way harder than we would ever be on our friends or loved ones.
So why do we do that?
It's about recognizing that we're all human. We all make mistakes.
And that's okay. We have to give ourselves the same grace and compassion we give others.
And she had this interesting analogy.
Oh, tell me.
She compared the energy we consume and project to junk food versus healthy food.
Okay, that makes sense.
If we're constantly feeding ourselves negativity.
But it's going to show up in how we think, act, and treat others.
But if we make a conscious effort to cultivate positivity and kindness.
It's going to radiate outward.
Powerful imagery, right?
It is. And it reminds us that we have the power to choose what we feed our minds and hearts.
And that choice impacts everything.
It really does.
So it's all connected. Our thoughts, our actions, the energy we put out into the world.
It's like a cycle.
It really is. But the good news is,
we have the power to break it.
We do. We have the power to choose kindness.
To choose positivity.
Even when it's hard.
Even when we mess up.
It's about giving ourselves grace.
And remembering that every little choice matters.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Chloe's conversation with Jay Shetty.
What are your big takeaways?
I think for me, it's this overall message of empowerment.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Like taking responsibility for your own happiness, choosing kindness, forgiving yourself and others, finding validation within.
It's all about stepping into your own power.
Exactly. Recognizing that you have the strength to overcome challenges, to grow and create a life that truly fulfills you.
It's pretty inspiring, right?
It is. It reminds us that no matter what we've been through,
we can choose a different path.
We can choose kindness, love, happiness.
And it starts with those small, everyday actions.
Like that 5% more kindness.
Or a journaling session, a moment of self-reflection.
The decision to forgive.
Those are the things that build a more meaningful and joyful life.
So we want to leave you with a challenge.
Ooh, I like challenges. What is it?
What small act of kindness will you choose today?
What step will you take towards creating a life that you love?
A life that reflects your values and brings you joy.
Every choice matters.
Every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the power to make a difference.
In your life and the world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
We hope you got something out of it.
Until next time.
Keep choosing kindness.
Keep growing.
And keep shining.